yes, teachers' pay should be based on the evaluation. It should be done by, now, people don't think I'm right on this, but this is my belief. High school students, those in junior high school, junior and senior in high school, know what's going on in this community. They should have a small say, maybe 5% in an evaluation of their teacher. What did they learn? What didn't they learn? What problems? Someone said, well, isn't it like the Olympics, you take out the high score and the low score? I said, no. You evaluate all what the students have to say. Excuse me. Parents, they should take in another 35% of it because they know what their students have learned. And those that participate in the schools will have a good analysis. And again, you're going to get some parents that like a teacher and don't like a teacher. So you take the overall review of what the parents have to say. Finally, the principal. This is your in-house administrator. This is the boss of the people. They have to be evaluated, and I would say they take 60% of the evaluation. The one I'm not convinced on is whether my peers should evaluate me. Because if I had an argument with Jane Smith and Jane doesn't like me and Jane tells the others, then it's not that. So I would look at the principal as a 60, I'd look at parents at 35, and I would look at the students at 5%. For those in the senior high school. If it's otherwise, it'd be 40% for the parents, 60%. I'd also take into consideration grade average of the overall class from the regular grades and their end-of-year tests that are those that are given. But to just, again, this would have to be something, this is my concept, but I firmly believe, because of the way this was brought in, this has to be something that's worked on by the teachers, by the parents, by those students that are in a leadership role, and the administrators. Let them determine, but this is what I would encourage.
And so are you saying that student performance would have some place in the teacher performance, but that it would be on the testing that
it'd be a very small performance. It'd be a very small amount. It'd be, I mean, I'd look at it from the point, because I don't want to see test grade. I don't want to see an Atlanta. I want to see, whatever their grades are, whatever the students learn, to see that they've learned. I got to say this, and it's hard for me to say. I grew up in a dysfunctional home. I didn't have parents that would check my homework. I didn't trust them to check my homework sometimes, but I had to do what I had to do. And if I didn't have teachers like Mrs. Utley in the 6th grade, Mrs. Harkey in the 8th grade, Mrs. Summers and Mr. Summers in the 9th, and then Mrs. Sawyer and Sten pushing me and pulling me through school, I would have been the worst student for you to grade on, because I was not a very good student. I didn't care. And unfortunately, when I got out of high school, I realized how much I missed education. That's why I went back to college. It was hard, it was difficult, but it was because these teachers pulled, pushed, and prodded me. I didn't get it at home, so how do you measure what effects a home life has on your education? And I think it has a major effect. Because if I don't, it used to be, before my dad died, my father would ask me, we do our homework, he'd check it, make sure we did it. Later in life, it was, did you do your homework? And we learned that we could lie. Yeah, we did it. We didn't do it. So that, it's not fair to the teacher to penalize them because of my inability. And I hate to use that on the video, but this was honest.
Yeah, and so then you would be, student performance would have some role to play. You would say a more minimal role.
Very minimal. Very
and
minimal.
would it be through standardized tests or through
no testing.
other measures?
I just use what grading system the teachers use, and just see that the students are learning. I don't want testing. I don't want special tests. I don't want these standardized tests to be used. I just think what a student learns in his classroom, that's what he learns, and that's what we're basing it on for a teacher.
Is there any, so even for the places that we have standardized tests already, in reading or whatever, you still would not use those?
No, no, because I'd love to go to law school. You know why I don't go to law school? Because I know I can't take the LSATs. I'm horrible at those standardized tests. When I took the PSATs and the SATs, my counselor told me I'd be lucky to get into Central Piedmont. So, I mean, and the thing is that I love to read. I love history. I love things to do, but I'm horrible on those tests.
If you're using achievement to impact pay performance, then how would you be assured that the evaluation of a teacher, say at Garinger versus evaluation of a teacher at Providence, would be comparable, since you might be using very different tests?
Thank you, Louise. You couldn't have thrown me a better one. My concept would be is that each school has a parent-teacher-student program, so that when you're comparing Garinger, you're comparing Garinger. You're not comparing Garinger to Providence. You're comparing it to the students in Garinger High School or at Myers Park. You're comparing them to Myers Park students. Each school is different, just like each person. And that's how I would do it. That's why I say I'd want to see a teacher, parent, administration program, and that it would be involved. And then I didn't go into the big detail, but the big detail would be it would have to be different for each school.
So then, I mean, the pay scale is a state pay scale. So then how, I mean, would the pay scale be based totally on performance, or would it be on other things such as experience of teachers or master's degree or national board certification, that type of thing, some of the things that are there
Well, the state
presently? And if it's state run, how do you allow it to be handled by each school?
Okay, you know, that's the interesting question. That was a fallacy of the 72% support pay for performance. The problem is, if you ask the question, do you like ice cream, 90% of the people are going to say yes, but if you say it's going to cost $10 a scoop, your numbers change. And that's what they didn't ask in that survey. The same situation here is, how are we going to pay for the compensation for teachers? We have to look at new ways, and one of the ways that I would look at it is it'd be a county responsibility. The state's already set in what they're going to pay teachers with just a degree, or teachers with certificate, teachers with a doctorate, teachers with a professional degree of some kind. So the county, just like the supplemental program, would have to be the ones to pick up this kind of pay for compensation for academic professionals. And that's how it would be. I can remember on the county commission one year there was a discussion to do away with the supplement. And the late Senator, County Commissioner Jim Richardson and I fought tooth and nail, and we set that, the school board was going to put that money aside for something else, and we forced it to be used for teacher supplement. So the county, the tax dollars that we get in from the county, we would have to incorporate this program. So we're going to have to incorporate the county commission into this idea that the teachers need to be paid for excellence.
So essentially you say keep the same state pay scale, and then the county can, then you use the supplement rather than every teacher being able to count on a supplement. It would be
That's correct. No, I'd use the supplement. No, every teacher would count on the supplement. This would be additional funds. I'm not taking money away from a teacher. I refuse to do that. It costs too much money to live in Mecklenburg County, and we're not going to penalize.
So you would say it would be additional
funds, and this is why we got to make sure that the county comes in on this, and that the citizens are in on this. Because for me, I never took salary away from an employee when I worked. I wouldn't do that, and you're not going to do it to teachers. Not under my watch. We're going to find a way to get the funds.